Hi folks, just thought I'd show you a little bit of an interesting piece. One of the first things you do, of course, when you're setting up your aircraft is you bind it to your transmitter. In my case, I'm going to be binding this AR500 receiver from Horizon Hobby to my Spectrum DX6i. In order to do that, you usually insert a binding plug into the part of the receiver that states battery bind, right there by where I'm pointing to. As you'll see, there seems to be something plugged into it when you first open it up. What it is it's basically just a 3-wire extension. What the Park Zone has done is, in the interest of ease, so that if once you put your wings onto the top of your aircraft, you ever decide that you need to, or for some reason lose the bind and have to rebind your aircraft, they have the extension that just comes down and is clearly marked bind and sits inside the battery compartment. What you do then is you just take your bind plug and you place it into the end of the servo extension that sits in that'll just sit basically in the battery compartment and do nothing until then. So in that way you're just through the extension inserting your bind plug into the battery binding slot of the AR500. Okay folks, so as you can see, I've begun the installation. There's the what will be the left side landing gear. It's screwed in with 3 small screws. Line up your holes and snug it down. What I found it easier to do was to install, first of all, the inside left hole, and then get the other 2 up. I will warn you though, try not to over tighten the screws, of course, because it is just plastic underneath there, and these are metal screws, so it wouldn't be that hard to strip them out. So make sure they're snug, but make sure that they're not too tight. Alright folks, about to install the wing here. Just thought I'd give you a little notice there. There's out of the single aileron connection on the AR500, Park Zone's put the standard Y connector onto this. And then on the bottom of the wing, as you'll know, the aileron control connectors are already run to the middle. So all you need to do before you put the wing on is connect one aileron control into each of these. And if later on you decide you want to install the flaps, I see they've already preset the controller here, and they've given you the hardware that you're going to need to install it. What you're going to need to do is really install a controller here, a single servo, connected to these 2 in tandem to this, and then cut out your flaps, and voila, you're going to have yourself a flap kit. So I've installed the servo for the flaps on just a regular 3-wire servo lead. Here, done is I've installed the servo with the servo arm straight up in the air. I've attached the servo arm with the included control horns to the flap control rods, pre-installed flap control rods. What you do have to do is you have to cut away a little bit of foam on each wing. Out at the end, there's a little L-shaped area here, and it's very clearly described in the instructions. And it's not hard at all. I've just taken a very sharp utility knife, brand new blade, and just sliced through the foam in a little bit of an L, and it'll be the foam that ends right at the end of the channel, the pre-built hinge channel. Just cut right through there, and then on the inside root, cut away. There's a little gap piece between here. Just cut it flush right up to the edge of the channel. Same thing on the right, on the what will be the left wing, or right as you're looking at it down, upside down. Right to the edge of the channel, cut away the gap foam, and out on the end, just cut away the L-shaped foam there. So just slice it out. It's a very simple job. I've just used a little hot glue. Remember, if you have a servo tape, 2-sided servo tape, that's great. I wouldn't recommend epoxy or something really strong like that, because if you for some reason have to change out your servo, you're going to be in for a bit of a job doing that. Okay, so what I've done is I've just done a little dab of hot glue on both sides and on the back, and this is solid as a rock now. And hot glue installs very solidly onto the Z-foam, no problem at all. Okay, folks, so what I've done is I've installed the wing. Just lift it up a little bit easier, as you can see. What you do first is you slide the wing into the V slot. I'll see if I can't get you a better look at how it slides in there. But you can slide. See, there's a bit of a V at the front here. There's 2 pins on the end. So there are 2 pins that come in on either side here. You just slide the pins in, and then as you've moved it far enough in, drop the tail, the rear end of the wing into position. 2 bolts just drop straight down inside these holes. Phillips head screwdrivers as per normal, and then tighten them down. Mine fell straight into place, no problem at all. And Bob's your uncle. You've got a wing with ailerons and flaps. Okay, folks, just a quick note. You'll notice I've installed the wing struts. All you do is you either use a straight, you pop them into the 2 different holding brackets up top and down below. And you're given a choice of a cotter pin or a straight L pin. If you're planning to take your wings off for transportation, etc., then certainly what you'll want to do is you'll want to use the cotter pins, because they'll just snap into place and they don't need to be secured. For looks, though, what I've done is I've used the L pins, and you wrap a little bit of the supplied tape, little tape strips around the front, and it just secures the L strip to the arm so that they don't come loose and fall out. So this wing is not going to come off unless I actually cut the tape off and then re-secure it later. Okay, folks, just so you know, I've done the installation of the tail. It's quite easy. You'll note that on the left side, plain left, is where the control clevis and horn come from. They are attached. What you do is you install the horizontal stabilizer from the left through out the other side. As soon as you finish pushing this through, and there are 2 little lines that run along the edge of the mounting plastic that allow you to easily work out your alignment for your tail, so it's quite simple. Then you have to install the 2 little plastic keepers on the plane, which actually hold provide rigidity to the actual rudder. There are 2 little screws, and Park Zone is quite kind enough to give you actually a 3rd one, so they're quite tiny little screws that go through, so don't be looking for great big things. Once you squeeze these through, you just drop 2 little screws inside there with basically either an eyeglass or a hobby toolkit Phillips head screwdriver. Snug it down, that's good to go. Then there are 4 pieces of tape that Park Zone, of course, provides on both top and bottom of the, and you're left only to install the clevis. I'm installing everything onto maximum throws because I'm running the DX6i, and I have no concerns over too much throw because I'm going to be able to set up dual rates. Okay, we'll let you go. Okay, folks, real quickly, should have mentioned this earlier. The ESC power lead is something that you'll want to stuff through into the battery compartment before you put the wing down. Obviously, because you won't be able to reach into that compartment. I've installed the battery here. There are 3 nice solid Velcro strips that they come. I was careful about the CG. I made a slight error as I was measuring out my CG. It states 55 to 65 millimeters from the root leading edge. I measured from the tip here along and had the center dot and the back dot. Recognized after rechecking the manual that it's actually a measurement from the front of the wing at where it would meet the root edge back. So it's now the front 2 dots. Notice that that there's a little bit of a clip down there, a little basically a zip strip. I've taken the power lead that comes from the ESC, pulled it through, because what has happened is when, of course, you undo the battery, and if you're not holding it right, the ESC wants to drop down below, and the power lead fell into the inside of the chamber. Now you're able to fish it back out without taking the wing off. It was no big deal. But what I've done to avoid having to do that again is I've just run the lead up through, and I've run a zip strip around it, just a very light zip strip around it, just to hold it in place here so that there's no way this is going to fall back through. That way I've got everything built. Okay, and you've got no problem with having to worry about it running around. Okay, thanks very much, and we'll carry on setting it up here. Thanks.